Hello everyone. Welcome to this video where we'll explain what is cloud computing. Whether you are a beginner or a college student, this video will make cloud computing easy to understand. On behalf of CloudExpert Solution team, I would like to thank you for joining us and exploring this video. Let's get started. We'll start with what is cloud computing. But before that, let's understand using an example. Imagine you move to a new city and you need a residence to stay. You have two options. Either you buy a new house or instead of buying one, you rent a house wherever you need it. Both the options have its own pros and cons. When you purchase a home, you need to pay upfront. It could be down payment or the entire price of the house. On top of that, you need to pay for repair, upgrades, or the maintenance, maybe coloring, painting, or even if you need to move away from that city, or maybe if that was a temporary requirement for you, then it's not suitable if you have to move frequently. On the other hand, when you're renting a house, you do not need an upfront lump sum payment. However, you need to pay every month a fixed charge that you need to pay continuously throughout the duration of your rent. It is very easy for you to switch if required. Let's say you want a bigger house, or maybe you need to move to other part of the city or to a different city. In that case, renting a house will give you more flexibilities. Cloud computing works the same way. Let's understand cloud computing using the same analogy. Let's assume that your organization wants to host a new IT workload, and for that you need servers, databases, softwares, all those required packages, runtimes, and the networking. The first option is you build your own data center. When you are building your own data center, you need to pay upfront to purchase hardware, software, networking components, and skilled labor. Additionally, you need to invest in the security of the building, power, and cooling. In addition to that, you must plan for periodic infrastructure upgrades and the recycling of old hardwares. You must always plan for peak workloads, even if you experience seasonal traffic for only 15 to 20 days a year. You still need to purchase and provision application servers and database configurations for that peak demand. Otherwise, your system will suffer from performance issues, which will lead to poor user experience. In an on-premise data center, acquiring new infrastructure requires at least 3 to 4 weeks of lead time. With an on-premise data center approach, you either have to keep valuable infrastructure idle for most of the time or compromise on application performance, which can impact your brand value. On the other hand, instead of buying and maintaining your own servers, you can use cloud providers to host your workload over internet. You have the option to choose between AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud to host your workload without managing any physical servers. It's like renting computer power over the internet. Let's understand using a real life example. Let's take an example of Netflix. Netflix streams movies and shows to millions of users worldwide. Now, to maintain that user base or to store those movies, they obviously need storage capacity, some network storage. They need servers to host the streaming and also some form of databases. But instead of building its own data center, Netflix uses AWS services to store and deliver content. Next, let's understand the benefits of cloud computing, starting with scalability. In a conventional data center based approach, let's assume our baseline configuration consists of one application server and one database server to host the application. If the application experiences a sudden surge in traffic, it will suffer from performance issues and may become unresponsive to user queries. If this increase in workload is permanent, you will need to purchase additional compute capacity to host more application servers and database servers. However, procuring additional hardware and software require a lead time of several weeks. This means you always have to estimate and provision capacity based on assumptions or judgment. In contrast, cloud computing eliminates the need to guess your infrastructure capacity. You might wonder how. In the cloud, you provision resources based on the steady state or average workload. If the application faces a sudden traffic surge, it will automatically scale out by adding one or more new application servers. If there is even more demand, another application server or even a new database node will be added automatically. Once the peak workload subsides, the infrastructure will automatically scale in by removing the additional servers. This process is called autoscaling. With autoscaling, the application infrastructure can dynamically scale out or scale in based on traffic and workload demands. With cloud computing, you no longer need to estimate capacity or plan for peak demand manually. Next, let's discuss the benefit of cost effectiveness. In previous slides, we discussed that with an on-premise setup, you need to plan and purchase infrastructure for peak capacity, which means your valuable IT resources remain idle most of the time. In contrast, the cloud offers a pay-as-you-go pricing model. This means you only pay for what you use. If in a given month you use resources for just 10 minutes, you will only pay for those 10 minutes without any upfront investment. With cloud computing, you can replace your upfront capital expenditure or CapEx with flexible usage-based operational expenditure OpEx, making it easier to manage your infrastructure cost. In our previous example, application servers were automatically added and removed based on workload demands. Suppose my application infrastructure consistently used 2 virtual machines for the entire month, while an additional 4 virtual machines were provisioned temporarily to handle a traffic surge. But we only used for 20 minutes in that month for those 4 additional virtual machines. When it comes to billing, I would pay 2 VMs for 30 days or 720 hours and only 20 minutes for usage of additional 4 virtual machines. Cloud providers offer billing granularity in minutes or even seconds for some services, ensuring cost efficiency. Additionally, I don't have to pay for managing and maintaining data center racks, power, cooling, or physical security. My workforce can focus on building application features while the cloud provider handles this heavy lifting. The next advantage is agility. Let's assume your organization is hosting an online e-commerce retail website. Now they want to run a promotion and offer coupons and discounts to customers based on their purchase history. To achieve this, the organization needs a data analytics workspace for the next 6 months. If you were to configure this infrastructure in an on-premise data center, you would take weeks of lead time to purchase and procure hardware, install software, and set up security and networking. Meanwhile, as you are busy procuring this infrastructure, business requirement might change. For instance, during the pilot phase, your team might realize that the data ingestion requirements have shifted. Initially, you planned for batch data processing, but now the product team wants to perform analytics on clickstream data or real-time data ingestion. This would require infrastructure changes, something very common in today's dynamic business environment. However, the availability of infrastructure can become a bottleneck, limiting your organization's ability to innovate. With cloud computing, you can provision infrastructure in minutes with just a few clicks. If you need a data warehouse solution, you can quickly provision Amazon EMR and use AWS Glue for ETL For visualization, you can integrate Amazon QuickSight as a BI dashboard tool. Tomorrow, if your needs change and you prefer a managed data warehouse, you can easily switch to Amazon Redshift and terminate EMR without any prior notice or long-term commitment. You stop paying for any service the moment you terminate it. That will ensure cost efficiency. With cloud computing, your team does not have to wait months to innovate. Any required resources are at fingertips and can be provisioned instantly with just a few clicks. Last but not least, go global. Imagine your organization operates in North America and wants to expand to Europe. Traditionally, this would require securing office space, building a data center, and spending months navigating regulatory and compliance requirements, covering security clearance, PII, PHI, data protection, and many more, which easily takes a month to years of lead time. With cloud, expansion happens in minutes. A few clicks allow you to deploy infrastructure in a new geography, bringing your applications closer to users. Plus, cloud providers handle regulatory and compliance requirements that will eliminate the complexity and delays of traditional approach. Let's explore the different types of cloud services. We'll start with Infrastructure as Service or IaaS. This model provides virtualized computing, storage, and database resources over the internet. The cloud provider manages and maintains the underlying infrastructure including hardware, cooling, power, security, networking, and infrastructure upgrades. As a customer, your responsibility is to manage the guest operating system on virtual machines, deploy applications, and ensure application and data security. As an example of infrastructure as services, Amazon EC2, Azure Virtual Machines, and Google Cloud Compute Engine. Next, we have Platform as Service or PaaS offerings. This model takes cloud management a step further. With PaaS, you get a fully managed platform to deploy applications without worrying about infrastructure maintenance. The cloud provider not only handles all infrastructure as service responsibilities but also takes care of guest OS upgrade, runtime environment, and platform availability. As a customer, you only need to manage your application data, security, and access controls. Examples of PaaS are AWS Lambda, Azure App Services, Google App Engine, and all. Finally, we have Software as Service or SaaS. SaaS offers ready-to-use software applications on a subscription basis. The cloud provider takes care of everything from infrastructure to application maintenance, ensuring 24/7 availability of the software. As a customer, you don't need to manage infrastructure or applications. Your only responsibility is to control user access and permissions. Examples of SaaS are Gmail, Microsoft 365, Google Workspace, and all. Now let's dive deep and understand the different responsibilities and the boundary of responsibilities between different offerings. If you are hosting any workload in on-premise, you need to manage and maintain network, storage, servers, virtualizations, operating systems, middleware, runtime, application, data and access. That means in your on-premise data centers, you have to manage each and everything. When you will go to cloud service providers and if you are using infrastructure as services or IaaS offering, cloud service provider will take that heavy lifting and you don't have to manage and maintain network, storage, server and the virtualizations. However, you need to manage operating system, middleware, runtime, application and data access. If you move to platform as service or PaaS offerings, then cloud service provider will take the lion's share of your responsibilities and they are going to manage from network to runtime. You as a customer have to manage application and data access. On the other hand, if you are moving to software as a service, They are going to take the entire responsibility from network to application. You only need to manage and maintain data and the accesses. That means who is going to access your application or what level of authorization. Please stay tuned and explore other modules from the bootcamp playlist for a comprehensive understanding of the topics required for the certification. That wraps up this module. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more update, and feel free to drop any question or feedback in the comments. We would love to hear from you. I hope this session helped you gain a deeper understanding and brought you one step closer to your learning goals. Thank you very much for watching and learning with us at CloudExpert Solution. See you in the next module.